In this pod-slice summary of the Mikhaila Peterson podcast, Jordan Belfort, famous for his financial expertise and notorious past, talks to host Mikhaila Peterson about his knack for capitalizing on opportunities in the market and creating wealth. He credits his success to a combination of inherent traits such as being ultra hardworking, having an entrepreneurial mindset, and natural talents in sales, along with knowledge of critical business strategies. Belfort specifically discusses the importance of having empowering beliefs about making money and his ability to shape his own destiny. He emphasizes that an attitude of self-belief can foster action in the financial world, but he also raises the necessity of specific skills such as entrepreneurship, starting and scaling businesses, training salespeople, and marketing businesses and products effectively. Admitting that these skills might be innate to some extent, Belfort insists they are also learnable and asserts his teaching abilities. Over the years, he has taught these skills and has helped millions of people become more effective in sales and in starting businesses. He also discusses the critical step of learning what to do with money once it's made and how to put it to work, implying that financial management is a necessary skill for sustaining wealth. Further, Belfort touches on the necessary mindset for success. This includes managing one's mindset to stay optimistic, confident, and clear about the future vision. It also involves high standards for oneself and not settling for mediocrity. The straight line system, as said by Belfort, is designed to turn anyone into an effective closer or communicator, and it's pivotal for breaking down barriers and making progress in business. He emphasizes that to be a successful salesperson or business person, one doesn't need to be the best. Being good enough is good enough. It's not about reaching perfection, but about constant progress. For individuals who may lack certain skills or struggle in certain areas, Belfort suggests surrounding oneself with people who possess those skills. This applies to both business and personal life. Lastly, he gives advice to those who might be more on the shy side and are trying to break into sales. He insists that shyness shouldn't deter anyone. Learning the skill set of persuasion using his straight line system can be empowering enough to instill confidence and help overcome the fear of putting oneself out there. Jordan Belfort, during his chat with Mikhaila Peterson, delves deeper into the mechanisms that influence beliefs about capabilities and success. He talks about how negative self-perceptions, like thinking one is terrible at selling, can be detrimental as it reinforces a limiting belief cycle. According to Belfort, disrupting this cycle requires a growth in competence, basically learning a new skill set that makes one a better communicator or closer. The strategy, as he presents, is essentially to grow oneself, learning new things, which then boosts confidence, laying a seed for a positive cycle. He accentuates this by giving an example of novice investors who may believe they are terrible investors because of initial failures, when in reality, their failure could be attributed to a lack of skill or knowledge about proper investing. Belfort's approach comes with an equally notable motivator: skill training. In his view, simply cheering someone on without equipping them with necessary skills could be labeled a bluff by the brain. Yet when people learn new things, develop strategies, and improve, they begin to break their false beliefs and enter an upward trend of growth. Furthermore, Belfort mentions his straight line system. He shares that it is designed not to make experts out of amateurs, but to simply make them good enough, adequate at communicating in a short period. Understanding this adequacy is essential since he clarifies that being good enough is often sufficient, provided it is coupled with other natural skills possessed by an individual. Contrary to popular belief, Belfort believes that anyone, regardless of their communication levels, can become a good communicator, an assessment he makes from teaching people from different walks of life and varying skill levels. He asserts that it's acceptable not to be perfect so long as there is consistent growth and progress. About investing, Belfort declares it to be an easy task once the formula is known, insisting that even a smart child could outperform the majority of money managers. To touch upon one of the key issues of entrepreneurship, he discusses the common tendency to complicate simple things and the inclination to take multiple paths towards success rather than focusing on one area. He advises on the need to invest energy and focus on one thing at a time, and discourages spreading oneself too thinly across multiple interests. Lastly, Belfort advocates for keeping things simple, breaking down large projects first and slowly building up as success escalates. He emphasizes that many successful businesses started with one idea or thing, and other areas of growth stemmed from that one thing. In this part of the podcast, Mikhaila challenges Jordan with issues that people often grapple with in their businesses, which have no simple answers. She asks Jordan about recognizing the need to let go of an employee, to which he extends an intriguing analogy to draw. Belfort recommends that one should not entirely dismiss areas where one lacks proficiency, as it could make it easier for others to bamboozle. So it is necessary to possess some basic understanding of all aspects of one's business. Highlighting the value of performance over inflated credentials or persuasive rhetoric, Belfort advises entrepreneurs to focus less on words and more on individuals' accomplishments. To keep track of this, he suggests having specific key performance indicators, or KPIs. This way, one can ensure that their staff are meeting the set expectations, and no employee is considered to be irreplaceable. This mentality is crucial in finding the best talent and delegating tasks effectively. A successful business framework involves tracking the team's performance, being vigilant, and taking prompt action if someone's incompetence is compromising productivity. Further, Belfort provides a unique perspective about keeping the work environment positive. Immediate action against anyone bringing negativity is essential, as it is like cancer to the work culture. Emphasizing that one must not feel cornered or pressurized by problematic team members, Belfort stresses that it is perfectly reasonable to exit someone from the team if they aren't a good fit. So whether you give someone 2 or 3 chances before letting them go depends on the circumstances and the magnitude of their error. Mikhaila raises the issue of overdependency on a specific employee, and Belfort asserts that no employee can hold one's business hostage. He firmly believes that in business, everyone is replaceable. It is crucial not to fall into the trap of believing one is dependent on a single employee, because even if an individual is making significant contributions to the business, another professional can always fill their shoes, particularly if they aren't performing their duties as required. Finally, Jordan promotes the idea of employing highly skilled employees and compensating them well. He stresses that trying to employ cheap labor could potentially be the most expensive mistake one can make in business. In the podcast, Jordan provides a meticulous breakdown of the complexities of short-term versus long-term trading and investing. He argues that for the average person or money manager trying to beat the market through short-term trading, such as speculating on individual stocks or sectors, the odds are not in their favor. More often than not, fees, commissions, and the short-term nature of the trades lead to lower returns instead of higher ones. These are insights backed by numerous studies showcasing that long-term investment, such as buying the S&P 500 index and reinvesting dividends, tends to yield better results. Drawing from his extensive experience and research, Jordan underscores that the stock market isn't a platform for quick riches, but an instrument for building wealth over a lengthy time. He warns against following the suggestions of charlatans offering hot tips on specific stocks or tokens on social media platforms. These individuals often peddle risky bets and charge hefty fees that ultimately do a disservice to investors. Even professional money managers, barring a limited few, struggle to outperform the S&P 500. The majority tend to close their funds once they have a hot streak, opting to trade themselves or cater to a select group of ultra-wealthy individuals. Demystifying the concept of compound interest, Jordan explains the profound difference even a few percent can make to an investment's value over a span of decades. A portfolio compounding at 11% annually over 25 or more years can grow into a substantial sum, whereas one growing at 5% or 6% would barely progress. Jordan stresses the crucial understanding that despite occasional recessions, the S&P 500 has historically generated positive returns over the long term. He recommends viewing the stock market more as a platform for financial growth, where regular investments in combination with a strategy revolving around the S&P 500 and a few other elements can yield a successful portfolio over time. He further discusses a typical trap that many fall into, the impatient expectation of exponential growth in the early stages. This often leads to disappointment and unfortunate investment decisions. Even a seemingly small return of 10% or 15% in the first few years can compound into impressive sums over time. He also sheds light on the Wall Street fee machine complex, which has created the perception that one needs financial experts to manage their investments. Jordan asserts that this approach made sense before 1980, when individuals lacked easy access to financial information and viable investment options. But with today's resources, one can successfully manage their investments independently. The advent of index funds has made it possible for anyone to invest in the general stock market, thereby democratizing wealth creation. Within the podcast, Jordan paints a stark image of the financial sector in the 1980s, a pivotal time in the investment landscape with the birth of Vanguard's S&P 500 index fund. However, Wall Street was deliberately suppressing this revolutionary development, attempting to tarnish Vanguard and its founder, Jack Bogle, with accusations of fraud. To this day, mainstream financial media outlets such as CNBC often propagate misleading information, promoting short-term trading and frequent sector hopping. Nonetheless, academic studies consistently attest to the superiority of long-term investments, particularly in the S&P 500 index fund, combined with regular contributions and reinvested dividends. Warren Buffett, for instance, famously compared money managers to blind monkeys, endearingly stating that he'd rather entrust his funds to the monkeys throwing darts at the S&P. In essence, an S&P 500 index fund, first introduced by Vanguard, has proven to be a reliable vehicle to outperform the market consistently. This was such a disruptive move in the financial world that eventually even the biggest firms had to concede and create their own versions of this fund. This doesn't necessarily endorse Wall Street's practices, though. While lauding Wall Street's undeniably important function of facilitating company growth by taking them public, Jordan criticizes their manipulative nature to convince average Joe to trade incessantly to their detriment. Taking a firm stand, he imparts a powerful message. The stock market should not be a playground for short-term profit-making. It should be a platform for long-term wealth creation. Embrace the fruits of Wall Street's labor, but protect your investments by restraining from frequent trading. Hold on to the S&P 500 and take advantage of the economic trends it reflects. However, he believes financial planners can offer critical guidance in terms of tax planning and managing retirement assets. While individuals should avoid those promoting high-frequency trade strategies, an adept financial guide can contribute invaluable advice for tax minimization. Towards the end of the discussion, the topic pivots to the potential pitfalls of online investment courses. Jordan strongly advocates for diligent individual research to discern legitimate advice from attractive scams. He advises potential investors to delve into an educator's reputation, read their books, if any, examine their reviews, and investigate beyond the surface level. As per Jordan's experience, most of these offerings are regurgitated information from original or experienced sources, making them dubious investment choices. Despite his skepticism, Jordan opines that real estate investment can indeed be a profitable venture if guided by a credible mentor. However, he staunchly warns against the unrealistic promises of becoming a billionaire property investor just by pressing a button while lounging around. These notions of easy and overnight wealth, he insists, are injurious fallacies perpetrated by schemers, and investors should stay wary of them. While exploring the topic of online financial education programs, Jordan dives into the issue of frequent upselling inherent in many of these courses. He indicates that while the initial information obtained may prove sound, these programs often encourage individuals to spend on progressively more expensive and supposedly advanced learning, potentially cannibalizing any financial gains made. Jordan encourages aspiring investors to take advantage of the multitude of free or reasonably priced quality resources that can be found online. Shifting focus to the realm of real estate, Jordan maintains the belief that real estate can indeed be an astute investment, although emphasizes the importance of careful mentor selection and preclusive over-leveraging. He points out the dangers of using excessive financial leverage, as while beneficial during a market uptrend, it can severely backfire during a market downturn, potentially leading to significant financial losses. Transitioning to the subject of Vanguard and BlackRock's dominance in the financial industry, Jordan suggests that the narrative of these giants wielding significant control in shaping corporate decisions may be somewhat exaggerated. These companies serve as custodians of customers' funds, ultimately purchasing shares on their behalf. However, Jordan doesn't believe that they use this influence to radically push any political or social agendas. Despite acknowledging the woke trend within corporations, Jordan expresses his dislike for such movements, arguing that they often detract from a business's essential functions and can lead to significant financial losses, citing current trends as evidence. He emphasizes that the primary purpose of business should be about commerce, not being a vehicle for social change. Towards the end, Jordan introduces his book, The Wolf of Investors, expressing his strong conviction that the financial literacy contained within its pages can significantly improve an individual's investing approach, ultimately protecting them from becoming victims of volatile investment crazes. He fervently believes that understanding the intricacies of investing is a crucial skill that every individual should possess. Check out the full podcast by clicking the link in the description below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for listening to this podcast summary episode of the Pod Slice.